Why does it sound like a rocket is blasting off? Is that the secret? Is it aliens?
They're being abducted.
Continue.
They're being abducted, Blake!
By aliens.
What were we doing?
Family problems. I went home and washed the day's sweat off in the shower. Normally I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things. But that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket.
And I was still depressed.
Normally I'd stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Satoko must be suffering. At the very moment I was appreciating this gentle kindness, Satoko might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. I went up to the second floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought, of course, was Satoko. We thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I didn't think it would be so easy. Satoko was obstinate, and she would stubbornly deny the abuse and try to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who had protected her before and then run away. As long as she thought that, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Satoko was in danger, then I would do what I had to. In the end, that meant I was just going to wait and see, too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd drawn a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If the time came, I would report it. Over the phone. Given Satoko's personality, she might criticize me if she found out. But I believed it was ultimately the best decision. Let's go forward. Wait, Keiichi Maebara. Would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Say that I reported it to a public agency like the Child Consultation Center. What if they stuck to their wait-and-see attitude like last year again? Last year they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily, but then the aunt, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became more underhanded than ever before. This year it was her uncle. I had just seen him for the first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. He wasn't like their aunt. No, not that subtle. He was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks. That could easily be discerned from the bruises and such I saw on Satoko's body. Shit, you're too naive, Keiichi Maebara. However heroic it may seem to report what was happening, if it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. We would need something more to guarantee Satoko's safety. I scratched madly at my head, thinking, then tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Reina said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw-thatched roofs in Hanamizawa, it was really big. We did actually have empty rooms. I've never thought that we were affluent, but also never that we were poor. I just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. We had a few rooms we could lend to Satoko. The guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come and stay over once in a while. Plus, if we cleaned up a few of the rooms my dad uses for storage, they could work for her as well. As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. Lunch every day would be manageable. All of our friends would just have to bring a little bit more for lunch than they usually did. With everyone pecking at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable. For breakfast and dinner, though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Satoko more than just a room. Of course, I don't even think convincing her of that would be easy. About how much did it cost for one person to eat? How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I shouldered that, could they? Only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. I actually had even more, thanks to the New Year's gifts and such, but my parents had taken all that and put it into a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I got that far, Mion and Reina would need to share some of the burden. Of course, that didn't seem like it would work. Reina got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I'd have to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but wouldn't it be only food expenses? It wouldn't be only food expenses. There were a lot of other things that you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. My mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies, and for once that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Satsuko would use for her own clothes. I couldn't think only about food expenses. I needed more money. Hey, wait, Keiichi Marabara, since when was all this about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking after a young girl for a really long time. What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit, Keiichi Marabara, and you'll realize right away that you can't. Even if you ask them seriously, they would tell you to call the police. Even if you manage to gain their empathy, why should the Marabara family have to shoulder all the burden by itself? That's what would happen. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, but no matter how much I wanted to help, my resolution alone couldn't save anything. Are kids? Are they really this powerless? I felt frustrated. I believe my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. I even thought that they were stronger than coaches. And yet, at that point, there were 2 knocks at my door, and Mom poked her head inside. Were you awake? I've been calling you for dinner for a while. Oh, yeah, I'm coming. As someone financially dependent on his parents, I shouldn't say this, but I just sat around doing nothing and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I shamelessly thought of it as the responsibility of the parents who gave birth to me. When I realized that natural thing was actually a privilege, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant that privilege to others. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. There was food for 3 on the table right now, for Dad, for Mom, and for me. Couldn't imagine how hard it would be to add another plate at that table. Think, Keiichi Marabara. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat food. What? Then just think about how 4 people could eat food made for 3. I changed around the way I thought, and with that I began to consider an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission. She should just live here in secret. I got upset when I found out a while ago, but if I remember right, if you climbed out the window then shimmied down the first floor roof or the gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Satsuko's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about that, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Satsuko to my house when the public agency said they would wait and see. In other words, if Satsuko's uncle continued to be her guardian, if in such a situation word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Satsuko back with him. Her uncle was her rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So, I needed to keep it a secret that she was living here. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but gotta deceive your allies first, like they always say. Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition, so I searched for a way to have her live here in secret. When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the 2nd floor. The issue was the daytime. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. Might be lonely, but not going would be the better option. I could easily teach Satoko the stuff she learns in her grade. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the other younger kids out rather than study my own stuff. During the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was this age. They wouldn't go snooping around in my room while I was gone. I think. If she holed herself up in my room, it would be okay, right? If my parents did come, thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs, and there would be a little bit of time before they got all the way up. I estimated a few seconds, as she would be able to hide herself in the closet. Wait, Keiichi. Something doesn't make sense. If she can't go to school, then what does she do for lunch? Calm down already. I could just leave her my own lunch, couldn't I? I should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Okay, that's good. No, more contradictions or oversights, right? Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. I can go with 2 meals a day when I sleep in on Sundays after all. Every night I'd pretend as though I had a bigger appetite and then ask for a bigger helping. And then I could just somehow give part of that to Satoko. As a test, I stood up from my seat with my plate of fish in my hands. What's wrong, Keiichi? Sit down and eat your food. Well, I'm kind of not in a good mood. Could I eat up in my room? Don't make a mess. Eat dinner at the dinner table. Sorry. Hey, wait. I only tried to take away 1 plate of fish and they ganged up on me? In reality, it was impossible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it. But it must have been worth taking the time to think about. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. I went back there and tried to think about it from Satoko's point of view. For example, let's say my parents were coming up the stairs right now. I've got to hide. I opened the closet. Clatter, clatter. It didn't open quietly. Hey, wait. Didn't it always open real smooth and quiet? Why was it suddenly doing this now? What is this? A faulty house? Had it already gotten old or something? Was just not putting enough work into it? Could I just plaster it with wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect it happening when they climbed the stairs. But this was an easy problem. I could do something about it. I just had to fix it up a little bit so I didn't make any noise anymore. For now, I'll close myself in the closet as though I had successfully hid. I basically always left my futon out on the floor. I couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there still might be some reason they would. I might need to construct some sort of camouflage so that she wouldn't be noticed even if they did open it. But the more she worried about that, the less time she'd have to actually hide, meaning it would be more likely they'd hear a noise. And then I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? The need to use the toilet. So obvious, and yet such a fatal flaw! The only bathroom was on the first floor. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. I might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot, I guess. Satoko would hate it, so she could go in my room. But the stench would be pretty terrible. Anyone sensitive would probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. The bath was okay, though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out. But I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt if my parents were lazing around downstairs, she'd be in trouble. It was then that I noticed that I'd be clawing at my head with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my knees against my chest. I buried my face in them and tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I thought, the more things failed. And the more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in a cramped place for so long. But if I was to shelter Satoko, I would need to force her to feel this pain. To live in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place forever. But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle, or so I wanted to think. It got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. I looked at the clock, and to my surprise, it was 3:30 in the morning. And it felt like so little time, but it was so unbelievably long. When I realized that, I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep as if the time had only just caught up with me. I didn't have enough strength to fight it, and I fell flat on my futon. Shit. I can't just go to sleep like this. If I waste any time, that'll mean I'm taking the wait-and-see attitude that Mion and Coach and everyone else did. I needed to keep worrying about how to rescue Satoko for a minute, or even a second longer than everyone else. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? That one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around in a spiral and steadily took over my entire mind. For my last moment of consciousness, I thought. There were a lot of blind spots in what I considered tonight, but I absolutely wasn't wrong for having those ideas. Tomorrow, I would suggest this bold plan to the others. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Reina was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. And above all, we needed to rescue Satoko once again, with everyone helping out. I felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Satoko.
Poor Keiichi.
He's thinking about it way too much.
He's trying so hard.
The ceiling blurred into view. At first I was like, of course, the ceiling! We give her a Spider-Man suit and she sticks to the ceiling! They'll never see her! It was hot. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. The voices of the cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. What? Today's not Sunday, is it? I remembered today was a weekday and quickly brought myself to consciousness. And then finally I leaped out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. I was totally late. When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do, though. After reviewing the schedule for the school day for a moment, I suitably rearranged the stuff in my bag. I hurried and got dressed, then went down the stairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went out somewhere together. So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up once this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. My parents, thinking I had gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. I went to the front door, and as I expected, it was locked. Looked like I was right. It was further evidence of my speculation being correct. When I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to get to school. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they poured in, and it had gone warm since a while ago. When I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Satoko, yesterday I had cried. Well, thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. I wasn't in a position where I could bargain for Satoko by myself anyway. It's such a heavy thing just to save a single person. I'd seen this on TV and in comics all the time. Those feel-good words about how you'll save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that, swearing to save her because I wanted to feel good about it? No, that absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact that I couldn't save her, the fact was I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult. Like I couldn't do anything but watch. Had Satoko gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her, and no one else could either, then we could only pray for a miracle. Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I'd only overslept by 2 or 3 hours, but the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Well, of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one to get to school. Put in a more positive light, maybe I wanted some time to walk by myself and think. I had to go to school, probably to make sure Satoko was safe, but I hadn't come up with any plans yet. Nothing since last night. So the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. If I went this way, I'd pass Reina's house and the dam site. It would be quite a detour. I calculated how long of a detour it would end up being. Then, satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Reina had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful, oversized garbage dump, and Reina really liked going fishing for junk in there. Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl, too. I could think of a few other qualities she could do without, but whatever. The view quickly opened up wide, and I was hit by a strong wind. There was no shelter here at this big dam site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here, I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of my cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with a rich, cold air unique to Hanamizawa. Ring, ring. I turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They'd rang the bell because they wanted something from me. Didn't expect to see him here.
Holy crap.
Hey, excuse me. You're from Hanamizawa, right? Yes, why? I've seen this person around a few times. Right, I remember. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Hanamizawa every season to take pictures, or so me and the others told me, I think. Could you tell me how to get to the Furude Shrine from here? I think I left my map at the inn. I don't know where to go. The shrine from here? I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated at having been bothered for this, but when I realized it meant my detour actually meant something, that feeling faded quickly. I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain. I could bring you there if you don't mind. Really? I would be in your debt. Thanks a lot. But are you sure? Did you have something to do? Tomitake-san finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of day. I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the Furude Shrine. Tomitake-san hurried to turn his bike around and came after me. Sorry, don't worry, all guys have times. Oh, I think this was, Keiichi. Don't worry, all guys have times when they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while. Oh, it was Tomitake, okay. What a free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me, too, that he was under that impression. I'm Tomitake, a freelance photographer. I specialize in wild birds and landscapes. I'm still pretty unknown, though. It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine, but he gave me his name, so I needed to give mine back. I'm Marabara. Pleased to meet you, I guess. Marabara-kun? Pleased to meet you. You seem like a pretty silly man, but that felt kind of good considering I've been suffocating with worry over Satoko all night. Along the way, Tomitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Hanamizawa was, and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it. These steps will take you up to the shrine grounds. Thank you. You really helped me out. Think I'm a little late. As Tomitake-san mumbled to himself, he left his bicycle nearby and started to climb the stairs quickly. I didn't have a watch, but as far as my internal clock could guess, it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then. With that in mind, I went up the stairs in pursuit of Tomitake-san. When I reached the top of the long staircase, I arrived at the wide-open shrine grounds that were too grand-looking for this tiny village. Tomataki-san. Oh, there he is. It looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here. Then he got lost and ended up being late.
Ooh.
I think we're going to be meeting another familiar character. He was bowing to a lady who must have been the person he was meeting. There she is.
There she is.
Here's the dying two. Here's the two that are probably going to die again. It feels like they're like just caught in this loop of like constantly being the victims for Watanagashi. And like they come back in the story just in time. That lady. I knew her. Oh, is that you, Marabar-kun? Hello. Are you off from school today?
No.
What? Oh. Marabar-kun, you followed me? I wasn't really planning to. I just wanted to kill some time. Oh my. Arriving at work late like an executive. How refined. You certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot. What was I? A celebrity? Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. I was only concerned about what she meant by famous. Oh, you still can't remember my name? This is Mio Takano-san. She works at the village clinic. Marabar-kun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you? Now that we're finally acquaintances, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of special treatment. This lady named Takano-san, I kind of didn't remember her. Maybe we'd passed each other on the street a few times, but I was pretty sure this was the first time we talked. Well, this is Anamizawa, even if I don't know a person's name. It's not unusual for them to not know mine. I glanced at Takano-san and saw she had a bag and a camera. Are you photography partners? Was that why you were meeting each other? Oh, we're nothing like partners. I am but an amateur, and Jiro-san is gently initiating me into it. Right? That's not it at all. Takano-san is a quick learner, so she can take pictures just fine without my guidance. I mean it. Couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, they were certainly one couple you wouldn't get tired of watching. Festival is finally coming up the day after tomorrow.
Look at that.
Oh, lovely. I hope I can take some good pictures this year. I plan on taking some shots of the setup tomorrow. I want to capture the festival energy shown by the preparation for it too. Oh, I just remembered. There was some village festival called Watanagashi or something the day after tomorrow, on Sunday. Gosh. I'm gonna get a quick water.
Alright.
I'm good. They hold a service with a pile of old futons. In order to give thanks to Hanamizawa's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama, I think? Oh, you're correct. You have quite extensive knowledge despite having just moved here. Yes, it is a festival. To give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Hehe. Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of a festival to thank Oyashiro-sama needed to be laughed at. Cryptic as ever, Takano-san. But I do wonder what will happen this year. You know what they say. If it happens twice, it'll happen a third time.
No, stop it.
And it's already happened 4 times.
Stop it.
I think there's less evidence that it won't happen a 5th time, don't you think? I knew what they meant by their whispered exchange. On the day of the Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs, which people call Oyashiro-sama's curse, and a disappearance occurs that people call being demon away. These strange events had happened 4 years running. Watanagashi rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow marked the 5th. Oyashiro-sama puts a curse on enemies of the village, eh? If it does happen this year, I wonder who will find themselves at gunpoint. Oh, and I always come here to pray and donate money whenever I visit. It won't be me for sure. Oh, that was Tomitake.
That was
You
so
poor fool! Oh, is that so? They say that Oyashiro-sama has been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know? Barbar-kun may have only just moved in, but he's a proper member of Anamizawa. But you, Jiro-san, are a stranger who only comes once a year. I wonder, will he let you go this year? That's harsh.
He's there.
Shit.
Oh man.
He's like, I'm fucked.
But I pay my tribute.
I do my taxes. I'm an honest citizen. Tomitake-san was the only one with a pained grin. Justified? But we were all smiling, me included.
Who's all?
Three of them.
Yeah.
And Oyashiro-sama, apparently. Oyashiro-sama, the one who used a curse to kill people involved with the dam construction project, one after the next. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Satoko's parents for supporting it, and the next year he even killed her aunt. If the deeming away was part of that curse, then you could add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak death incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hojo. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hojo family. The Hojo family lived here in Anamizawa. Did that mean Oyashiro-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly? Because, despite that, they had been in favor of the dam? Have you heard the news that Satoko's uncle has returned? Takano-san, who had been enjoying a few words with Tomitake-san, was caught unawares by my sudden inquiry. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Satoko's parents were killed by the curse, and her aunt too. So I was wondering if maybe, if you went in order, her uncle would be next. Her aunt had a miserable death from the curse last year, and her uncle let his fear take over and fled into town, right? Well, you're sure someone doesn't allow people to try and abandon the village, does he? I hadn't intended to be quite this persistent. But those words, they just flowed out of my mouth without thinking about it. Right. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic, of course, but the fact that every year, unfortunate accidents and incidents happen to enemies of the village. Like Takano-san said just now, it had happened 4 times. No one could say there wouldn't be a 5th. Huh. That's an interesting suggestion. It is true that if you look at those sacrificed in previous years, those named Hojo come up quite frequently. Given how long it's gone on for, her uncle being the one to die or disappear this year isn't out of the question. Not again, Takano-san. Don't laugh about it. It could really happen. I'm sorry, but Oyashiro-sama's curse is my life's work. Takano-san gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression, and her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked its inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Takano-san, you seem like you know a lot about Oyashiro-sama. Give me your honest thoughts. Given that he's a Hojo and that he's returned, what are the chances that the uncle will fall into the curse? My what? You seem like you really want this uncle of hers dead. That's not... I wonder. It all depends on the whims of God. Marabar-kun, do you know the true identity of Santa Claus?
Oh man.
Oh shit, kids! Shut your ears. Close your eyes. Huh? Got a strange question all of a sudden and I couldn't immediately answer. What? You don't know? It's your daddy! The daddies in everyone's families. What? That's what you meant? Well, of course. Everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end.
Oh.
That is a line that we need to remember. That is very important, I feel like. After all, humans are the only ones living in the world. All strange things should be explainable in terms of human actions.
It's leaning to that human
It
action.
really is. It's leaning hard in that direction. I felt like I put that somewhat strangely, but Takano-san was not as dissatisfied with that reply as I might have guessed. No, it's impressive that you caught on to that at such a young age. You're right. Strange things that happen in the world of man are all caused by man for his own benefit. Marabar-kun, I'll ask you again then. This time not Santa Claus, but Oyashiro-sama. Do you know anything about who Oyashiro-sama is? Takano-san took a step towards me and gazed into my eyes as she asked. Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was a corporate tactic to try to profit during Christmas sales, then what was Oyashiro-sama really? Oh, didn't you already say? There are only humans in this world. Everything can be explained by human actions, right? Hehe. Marabar-kun, keep this to yourself, okay? This string of freak death incidents attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse. Takano-san's view is that they may be premeditated homicides, performed by the people of Inamizawa based on some kind of ceremony. No, don't misunderstand me. My life's work is to research teachings, thoughts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism. I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is. Just keep that in mind, please. I could tell at least that she was saying some crazy stuff. If I were to liken her statements to a meal, it would be sort of like she just tried to stuff a whole plate of duck into my mouth and now I couldn't say anything. To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to ancient times, when Inamizawa was called Onigafuchi, or the Demon's Abyss. The transcendents who lived there believed themselves to carry the blood of demons and so were only half human. Takano-san, having entered our home fields, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitaki-san realized she was overawing me and interrupted for me. Takano-san. You can't just chatter on about that stuff to Marabar-kun. Look, he's really confused. Oh my, are you? If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. I have heaps of grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing. Thank you. If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano-san seemed a little unhappy that Tomitake had rained on her parade, but she stopped talking about it then.
I feel like we're going back to class.
Even so, it was still a very interesting story. That Oyashiro-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange freak deaths, were really homicides, perpetrated by people of the village. Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be. People wouldn't be dying because of a curse. Someone's obviously killing people and making it look like one. Indeed. As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out. You seem like you know, Takano-san. You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it. Oh my. Why do you think that? I just kind of felt it vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for this research could be explained just by these things being taboo or being safe and easy. This person loved walking through the profound, forbidden abyss of risks and taboos.
Which we saw in the last one.
Yep. Let's leave it at that, Marabar-kun. I just helped you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Oyashiro-sama again. Huh. I wanted to take a nice walk while it was still cool. Tomitaki-san seemed a little disappointed not to be able to go on the date he'd planned since I had brought up a weird topic. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Satoko's uncle will be chosen for the curse this year. If he was, then another miracle would happen just like last year. A terrible incident would happen again, but it would release Satoko from her unfortunate circumstances once more. Well, I do have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. It's a natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched the history of Onikafuchi Village. Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply. How enthusiastic. What would you do if you knew? Nothing, really. If you found out, you might get into danger yourself, you know? Maybe the 5th year's curse would be you. Takano-san toying with Taboo gave a devilish satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. She was probably trying to tease me, but I didn't feel like going along with her little game one bit. Huh. You like to talk pretty big, but you don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I felt a tinge of irritation at Takano-san's roundabout way of speaking. Those emotions escaped my mouth like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I had spoken about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken back. Oh my. You're something. You may be just a boy, but you can still provoke people. How unexpectedly rugged. I don't dislike people like that, you know? Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth, and I was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's. Alright. I'll tell you then. But you have to promise me 3 things first. 1, not to regret it no matter what I tell you. 2, not to tell it to anyone. 3, not to tell anyone I told you. I gulped firmly and nodded. Tamataki-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile, and lit a cigarette. Please tell me. Who is putting this curse on people? Who is it? Who's deciding who gets cursed? And after I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to know.
No. No.
There's another scene.
No way.
It's 45 minutes in! You think it's fucking done?
like, no way.
Yeah, I was right.
Wait,
we don't even get to know! We don't even get to know!
Huh?
Bullshit! Hold on!
What?
Let me keep going. Many of my classmates were playing freely in the schoolyard. A few of them had just run out of the school building after being on their shoes and tapping their toes to the ground.
I'm aggravated.
It looked like they had just finished eating lunch. From a time manipulating standpoint, I guess I succeeded. Oh, Marabar-san! Are you okay? A few girls noticed me and came running over. It was only natural they were worried. You think if someone wasn't there in the morning, they'd be out the rest of the day. Well, I'm just late for school. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what about Satoko? Did she come today? The girls exchanged glances. I saw a thin shadow fall over their faces and knew the answer without needing to hear them reply. Satoko was absent today, too. When all was said and done, after being out 3 days, she'd only come back for 1. Now she was out again. Who knew she would come back if she would come tomorrow? Yeah. But the teacher said she got a phone call from Satoko-chan. She said she had a cold. Chie-sensei said everyone should make sure to rinse their mouths out really well. Wait a minute, Chie-sensei? That's a little too thick-headed, don't you think? You're a teacher, aren't you? Why can't you be more sensitive and catch on to the fact that your pupil is sending out an SOS? But even if she did, there was nothing we could hope for. The most she could do was a home visitation. She didn't have any right to take Satoko from her uncle into safety. No matter the result, it would end up just like the public agencies with a wait-and-see attitude. It would just piss Satoko's uncle off, and her suffering would only grow deeper. Then wasn't Wasn't saying she had a cold the best option? She's right. Be careful not to catch a cold, got it? You can go now. There's still plenty of time in lunch break.
That was
Keiichi. Okay, whatever. The girls excitedly scattered into the schoolyard. Oh, Keiichi-kun! Reina had a cold today. Reina was yelling out the classroom window, waving her hand.
okay.
Keiichi-kun! A moment later, Miyun and Rika-chan poked their head outs too. We were very worried that even you would be absent today.
Thank goodness! You don't seem sick! You look pretty okay!
I felt a little uncomfortable with her saying that I didn't look sick, but I didn't care that much. What happened? Overslept? Well, late is late. Think if I said I was late because of a train accident, she'd let it slide? You overslept. Mio was being a bit persistent. Was she going to put on her club president cap and scold me for being late? Well, maybe she didn't have it in for me, but so I briefly stated that she was right.
There's still more bento! Everyone eat up! Without Keiichi-kun here, we couldn't have any fun!
Satoko is still absent, huh? Even Reina feigned cheerfulness. Couldn't stand to hear that and her face darkened.
She called this morning. Apparently she said her cold came back and she was staying home again. She said it might go on for a while too.
She must be sad. So we were all talking about going to visit. What are you saying, Rika-chan? Not pleased with Rika-chan wearing a wide smile as though it was a happy occasion, I threw cold water on her. We know best of all she doesn't have a cold, don't we? Don't ever tell a fib like that again, even as a joke. I'll get mad next time. Rika-chan furrowed her brow, looked down, and mumbled an apology.
It's not just you, Keiichi-kun. It's hard for everyone.
I know I'm not the only one worrying. But none of us can do anything either, can we?
That's true, but what?
I got the feeling I would cause another fight if this exchange went on, so I apologized first. Sorry. I'm sorry, so forget about what I just said. It's hard for everyone, right? It must be. It was at least clear, however, that I was the only one who had worried so much about rescuing her. At the very least, everyone else probably got the normal amount of sleep last night. Probably had good dreams, too. They definitely hadn't stayed up all night thinking so desperately. I know it might not be what you want to hear right after you get to school. But you were late today, Kei-chan. Did it have anything to do with Satoko being absent? Huh? What are you talking about? Sometimes you act kind of foolhardy, Keiichi. When both you and her were absent this morning, we seriously thought you might have kidnapped her and hidden her somewhere. Easy for you to say. If I could have, I'd done it last night. None of them had really thought about how difficult that clear-as-day solution was. I was up thinking all night, and thinking until the night was brightening. And then, I concluded that I couldn't do anything of the sort. Don't be dumb. I couldn't hide someone. You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize if I upset you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's eat some food. I'm starving. I took my bento box out of my bag. Everyone moved to make spot for me to sit.
My burger! Did you just get here?
No!
And just as I was about to stick my chopsticks in, Chie-sensei came along.
Okay, you didn't put enough space between chopsticks and GA.
Yeah. Sorry for being late. I overslept. What the heck? Even the teacher was giving me that strange look.
When you're finished eating, could you and the president come to the teacher's lounge? There's something I want to talk about.
Probably about Satoko, I thought. Since they left it at that and went back into the hallway.
I feel like it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna be about the wanted Nagashi.
Maybe. Probably like volunteering or something.
Yeah.
Eating lunch can wait. Let's go, Mion. You're right. Mion and I exchanged looks, nodded to each other, and got up.
It's probably about Satoko-chan.
No doubt about it. They were saying she had a cold, but everyone in class knew the truth. I didn't think that wouldn't have reached the teacher's ears by now. I kept playing dumb, so I think she gave up asking me. Revealing the truth to the teacher would only worsen the situation. Was that why she hadn't said anything? Or was it because she was Satoko's friend? And knew that if she was trying to endure the trials of her uncle's abuse in order to get her brother to come home. What should we do? Maybe we should use this chance to get a collective opinion. What do you want to do, Rika-chan? Meet. Satoko's closest and best friend was Rika-chan. However much I pretended to be her Nini, it didn't come close to the amount of time they'd spent together. So I felt like her opinion should be held in the highest regard. I know why Satoko is enduring her uncle's torture. Everyone looked startled and turned to me. Back then, whenever Satoko was abused, she probably cried and hid behind her brother. But Satoko thinks that, in the end, that's why her brother ran away.
Who did you hear that from?
The coach, I bet. I nodded quietly. Satoko believes her brother will come back if she can withstand the abuse. Maybe that's why she's trying to push through. But that assumption has nothing to do with Satoshi coming back. It hurts to say that about Satoko, but it's the truth. Everyone hung their heads. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Satoko probably won't be happy no matter who helps her. She wants to withstand everything with her own strength. But is it really right to respect that? I don't think it is. Even if Satoko hates us for a while, I think there will come a time when we need to save her against her will. And I think that time might be now. I told them all about what I saw and how I felt when I went to Satoko's house yesterday.
Keiichi-kun, so you think we should tell someone?
Of course! Only after we're sure that reporting it to a public agency will guarantee her safety. Without being sure of that, it could just get more dangerous for her instead. It's a difficult problem. You think we can get a definite promise out of the teacher? I had no confidence, but we had to try. Meanwhile, Rika-chan had her hand raised for a while as if asking for an opportunity to speak. I will leave it to Keiichi.
Oh.
What? Is that okay, Rika-chan?
Oh.
Keiichi is thinking about Satoko more than anybody else here. If Keiichi thinks that we need to tell someone, then I have no complaints. Thanks, Mion. Reina. Thanks. Mion, Reina, are you okay with that? Mion seemed to hesitate, not knowing if she should agree. But when she saw Reina's firm nod, she made up her mind and did the same. Okay. Let's go, Mion. Right.
Oh yeah.
We're all together now.
March.
We're united, shoulder to shoulder. Only Chie-sensei was in the teacher's lounge. Time for a Chie-sensei curry boss fight.
Curry sucks.
Nani?
We didn't see the principal anywhere. Dude, I just noticed, why is there a fucking magic lamp attached to the actual lamp? There's a magic lamp on the lamp.
I thought you were gonna talk about the little comic back there.
No, that's not weird. The magic lamp on the lamp, that's
and
weird.
The bowl of
That's not weird. That's expected. What's not expected is there's only one bowl of curry. I was expecting like 5. And like a curry poster on the locker.
No, that's what that is. That's a curry.
It's a curry manga. That's a curry manga.
Oh my god.
The schedule on the blackboard under the principal's name said, "Training going straight home." Our principal's sense of justice was too strong. Satsuko's problems wouldn't be solved with something so vague. Maybe it was a stroke of good luck that he wasn't here. When the teacher saw Mion and I come in, she closed up her curry bento, saving the rest for later.
Sit over there, please.
She told us to take a seat in the chairs directly in front of the principal's seat. I hadn't sat in this. Oh my god, is she going to be doing a lot of talking? I'm going to hate myself. I'm going to hate myself so much.
If you want to switch to your normal voice, you can.
I might have to. We will see. I hadn't sat in this chair since doing the paperwork for transferring in. The two of us sat there uncomfortably before the teacher walked over carrying a notebook and a ballpoint pen and sat in front of us.
Marbar-kun! You were absent this morning. Did something happen?
I'm sorry, I overslept.
Really?
I have no reason to lie. She narrowed her eyes at me in suspicion. Now I was sure of it. She wanted to talk about Satsuko.
In any case, I think you two already know. But your friend Hojo-san has been away frequently lately.
Her voice is like evolving. Her voice is. I'm gonna go normal for a little while.
Alright.
Neither Mia nor I had anything to say in response, but the teacher proceeded, not minding. Would you happen to know anything? There are some people in class spreading bad rumors. Mia looked down and remained silent as though she was being lectured. She sent me a quick glance. Everyone had made up their minds. They'd be leaving things to me. Mion-kun? Or you, Marbar-kun? I won't get mad or anything, okay? If you know something, I just want you to tell me. Sensei, can we ask you a question first? She must not have anticipated that response. She looked surprised. I don't know what rumors are going around about Satsuko in class, but if those rumors happen to be true, what would you do, Sensei? Well, what would I do? If it's true that she's being abused by her uncle, then I can't leave it alone. Can't leave what alone exactly? What would you do? Sensei's eyebrows shot up. Maybe I said it like I was trying to pick a fight. Marbar-kun, I'm being serious here. So am I. I'm also being completely serious right now. Please answer me. If it were true, what wouldn't you leave alone? Sensei took a few breaths, then began to speak slowly. First, I'd have to visit Hojo-san's house to confirm the situation. Her uncle might get mad and drive you away, though. Well, okay. Let's say you did meet with Satsuko and her uncle. Then what? Then I'd ask whether it was true. Once I got the facts, I'd go from there. Please stop talking so vaguely. What exactly would you do? Even despite my tone being so provocative, Chie-sensei bit back her emotions and listened calmly. I thought then that she was a good teacher. Chie-sensei really did have her students' best interests at heart. But she didn't have the power or the authority to save Satsuko. She let her sense of justice run away with her. The situation could get more complex. Sensei folded her arms, and for a few moments she closed her eyes as though mentally concentrating. And when they opened again, there was a strictness in her eyes I've never seen before. There's a law called the Child Welfare Law. It clearly states that abuse against children will not be allowed no matter who it is. So it would seem. Then what? I'd contact the prefecture's Child Consultation Center. You said just now that I would be turned away, didn't you? Child welfare officers can bring the police with them if the situation demands. They will not submit to intimidation. How many days would it take after you contact the social worker and submit the paperwork for her to be saved? Damn, he's just nailing her. It would be the same day. Their job is to guarantee the immediate safety of children. I know that. That's if they decide there's an urgent need. If they didn't, then they'd do the same as you. They'd go from there. They'd just wait and see, right? They'd just watch. It would make Satuko's uncle mood sour. And then Satuko would be stuck with him there. Kei-chan, that's going a little too far. I'm not lying, am I? Last year or the year before, whatever, that's exactly what happened when the child welfare people came, isn't it? And what happened then? You and Sensei would know about it a lot better than I would. I had said too much. I didn't need Mion to tell me that. I was talking crazy and itching for a fight. I was supposed to be telling her about the situation only after I was sure we could save Satsuko, but I basically told her everything right from the start. Chia-sensei looked at the clock, stood up, and picked up the phone at the principal's seat. Hello? Put me through to extension 3455, please. Is this okay, Kei-chan? Is this really okay? It was too late. The dice had been cast. Now we could only pray. Oh, thank you for answering my call. I'm Chie, a licensed teacher of the Namizawa Branch School. Would Director Watanabe happen to be in the guidance office? Yes, that's right. Something urgent came up, so I'd like to contact the principal as soon as I can. Yes. Thank you. Please tell him immediately. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you would have died.
I would so be dead right now. I'd be like, ah! I need a lot more water than this!
To do the Toad voice.
I'm in no position to Toad voice. The teacher put down the phone and tilted her head back and took a breath, like I always did. I'll ask the two of you again. Are the rumors going around class really true? Yes. Yesterday I went to Satuko's house, and I saw for myself just how bad it really is. You can leave the rest to me. I'll definitely do something for Satuko-chan. Something? Please stop saying such ambiguous things. Not something, we have to save her. If they end up deciding to wait and see again, how do you plan on taking responsibility? While I was yelling, the phone rang. Chia-sensei snatched the receiver up first. Hello? Oh, I apologize for interrupting your training. Yes. Actually, it's about the issue with Satoko Hojo-san. Yes. Sensei waved us away, telling us we could leave now. Mion went to leave, but I held my ground. I had a responsibility to make sure she stopped saying such vague, ambiguous things. If it didn't look like she was going to say anything substantial, then I'd tell them the truth, even if I had to steal the phone from her. Yes. No, I haven't contacted them yet. Yes. I haven't confirmed it, but it seems pretty bad from what the children are saying. It's not just pretty bad. Do something about it. Right now. If you're going to report it, then I don't care who you tell. But I swear, if they end up just waiting and watching, I will never forgive you. I yelled angrily at Sensei and the principal on the other end. I wanted to somehow, some way, convey to them just how dangerous her situation was right now. I understand that. I will tell them as much. Mion-kun, please take Marabara-kun back to the classroom. Yes, ma'am.
Nope.
Let's go, Kei-chan.
Nope.
We should leave this to the teachers now. You better promise. Till the very last moment, I glared at Sensei. Chia-sensei was being pressured by the likes of me. Keiichi, calm the fuck down!
Okay.
Idiot, this isn't the time to feel pressured. Now's the time when you give me a firm nod that'll set my mind at ease. Even so, we've already left things in her hands. At this point, we really can't do anything but pray. Bang! Mion shut the door to the teacher's lounge.
I feel like Mion's gonna go off on him.
That's it! That was the chapter. Now we get notes.
So, You know how,
Go on.
not Tomatake, the other one.
Takano?
Takano. You know how she said it's people doing these things?
Yeah.
What if Keiichi is going crazy and killing certain people?
I think you're
this one at least.
You're crazier than that theory. You're crazier than Keiichi.
For this one at least.
I don't believe that in the slightest.
You don't believe Keiichi could go crazy and off someone.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that he can't go crazy and kill people, because he's done it.
Oh yeah, he killed me.
He did do it. But I'm saying he's not the culprit. Alright, view new tips.
2.
Damn it.
They're both.
We got an article and statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Sounds so exciting.
Article!
Let's go to the article. Article 2, definition of child abuse.
Oh.
The term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian. Oh god, it's going! Meaning a person who exercises parental authority, guardian, minor... Okay, it stopped. Who is currently engaged in the custody of a child hereinafter, the same shall apply against a child. Meaning a person who is under 18 years of age, hereinafter, the same shall apply. 1. Assault the child in a manner that will cause or is likely to cause external injury on the body of a child. 2. Engage in indecency against the child or cause the child to engage in indecency. 3. Substantially reduce the amount of food for the child or abandon and neglect the child for a long time period in a manner that may interfere with normal development of the child mentally or physically or otherwise materially fail to perform the duty of a custodian. Or 4. Speak or behave in a manner that would be significantly traumatic to the child.
That, number 3.
3 and 4.
Leaving for a year.
3 and 4 definitely apply. 1 and 2 are assumed.
Yeah.
Article 3. Prohibition of child abuse. No person shall abuse a child.
Blank state.
Law number 4. Or law number Act number 82 of 2000. Authored by the Minister of Health and Welfare.
Wait, they have 2,000 laws?
They sure do. Alright, so it gave us... So it's more clarifying what is considered abuse or not.
Yeah.
And I feel that's going to play into what's going to happen to Satsuko and her uncle, and whether or not she can be taken from her uncle. I'm leaning towards the idea that it's not going to work. That there's going to be a loophole keeping her at her uncle.
Or he's going to be like, for the year, he's going to be like, oh, I left her with Rika, and she was being taken care of.
Yeah, it's very likely a loophole. He'll, like, find a loophole and just keep this freaking nightmare continuing. Alright, let's look at the statistics. Year 19. Principal abusers in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. That's a poor little Satsuko. Total, 5,352. Mother by blood. 2,943, 55%. Mother not by blood. 203, 3.8%.
Wow.
Father by blood. 1,445, 27%. Father not by blood.
There's your loophole.
488, 9.1%.
It's so little that...
They won't even consider it.
Yeah.
Year 19. Instances by type of abuse in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total, 5,352. Physical abuse. 2,780. 51%. Neglect, abandonment of child. 1,728. 32.3%. Psychological abuse. 458. 8.6%. There's a lot. So psychological abuse is very minor. Physical abuse, I would say physical abuse and neglect is what more applies to Satsuko's case, but I think there is still psychological abuse, and the fact that he is also it's more assumed. I don't think we have concrete evidence of psychological abuse, but she's definitely not in a good state of mind right now.
No.
Forbidden from going to school.
Ooh.
75. 1.4%. Sexual violence. 311. 5.8%.
Are they hinting at something? Because did you hear the music goes off?
They wouldn't give those statistics for no reason. They wouldn't give those stats for no reason.
Oh my god.
That really sucks.
Oh!
That's really bad. That could explain her mental state right now.
Because she's so, like, docile and, like...
Like, she's being, like, physically abused in more ways than one. And if that's true, that is just the worst.
Oh my god, that's gonna make me so sad on the inside.
I've heard that it is really sad. Which is, I'm leaning towards that's probably what it is.
Oh my god, I don't want to find out now.
That's
I don't want to know!
Alright.
Can we just stop? Can we go to the happy ending, please?
Let's just go to the answers. Alright.
So, I'm definitely leading to the person side now.
You're still leaning towards person?
Yeah.
Like a person theory? I am a stubborn asshole and I'm sticking with the curse theory.
I'm the person.
I'm sticking with curse. It's like they want you to think it's humans, but like, nah, some spooky demon's gonna show up and like, it was me.
Bye now.
I kill you, I kill you, I kill you. And then it's gonna be the last arc and it's like, no, we kill you! Oh, you're Shira-sama!
Alright.
My vision's a bit corny.
Yeah.
My vision's a bit cornier.
My vision's more realistic.
Yeah, yours is like more CSI. Yeah, I am He-Man. Masters of the Universe.
God. Well.
Alright, so we'll see you guys in the next video for more Higurashi.
I'm glad we got 2 characters back in this one.
Yeah, just for them to die in the next video. Because Watanagashi's coming. It's coming.
It's 2 days from now, right?
Yep.
Day after tomorrow.
It is. Meaning it's coming.
That would be really creepy if it, like, lined up. How they were like, oh, Sunday's day after tomorrow, and we were recording on Friday. That would be so weird.
Yeah, it would be. And it's like 2 deaths reported. 1 death, 1 missing. And it's like, whoa!
Holy crap!
Fiction has become reality. Alright, bye guys.
Bye, guys.